Today we're going to have simple equations involving one operation. Our objective is to use different strategies to solve for the unknown in simple equations which involve one operation on whole numbers and fractions. Okay, before we proceed to our today's lesson, let us consider the following. We have x plus y, 4d minus 8 equals negative 2d. Four p minus 4q, 6c minus 5d is 15. 3/4 x equals 4. And lastly, a minus 1 is 9. Okay, take a look at the following numbers and letters. Can you identify which of the following statement mentioned here or written here are an equation? Okay. Isa-isahin natin ang bawat isa. Okay. To answer the question, kung ano nga ba ang equation sa mga sumusunod na to, let's define first what is an equation. An equation contains a variable which is neither true nor false until the variable is replaced by a number. A variable, or usually known as the unknown, is represented by any letter na nakikita nyo sa alphabet. So you can use the letters from A to Z to represent the unknown or the variable. We also have a constant. An equation also contains a constant. A constant is a fixed value, so meaning it doesn't change. So this is an equation. An equation consists of a variable, a constant, and of course, an equal sign. Kaya nga siya equation from the root word equal. Diba? So, based on this definition, can you identify which of the following statement is an example of an equation? You write your answer on the paper. Okay. Let us see. Let's group them. The statement which is an equation and the statement which are not an equation. Okay. The first example is x plus y. Where are we going to put x plus y? In the column of equation or in the column of not an equation? Okay, very good. X plus y is not an equation. Why? We said that an equation contains a variable and a constant and it has an equal sign. We can see x plus y are letters which represent the variables or the unknown, but it doesn't have an equal sign and a constant. So x plus y is definitely not an equation. The next example is 4d minus 8 equals negative 2d. Okay, this is an equation. As we said earlier, an equation has a constant and a variable. And of course, it has an equal sign. As you can see, the variables here are the letters D. The variable here ay yung letter D, and the constant are the numbers 8 and the number 4. Okay. Next example is 4p minus 4q. 4p minus 4q is not an equation because it only contains a variable and a constant, but it doesn't have an equal sign. So definitely, it's not an equation. 3/4 of x is 4. Is an equation. 6c minus 5d equals 15 is an equation. And so with a minus 1 equals 9 is also an equation. So as you can see, we can now identify the difference between an equation and not an equation. Again, let me repeat. An equation contains a variable which can be represented by any letters in the alphabet from letter A to Z. It also have an equation also have a constant which is a fixed value. So meaning it doesn't change. And an equation also has an equal sign. So now you already know what is an equation. Is it clear? Okay, now let's proceed in solving an equation involving operation on whole numbers and fractions. Okay, there are several steps for us to follow in solving simple equation. Siyempre, in solving an equation, there is a solution. The solution in an equation is the number that makes the statement or the equation true. So, now let's proceed to the process or the step in solving an operation. So the first one, if the equation is written the first one, is to write the equation first. Write the equation. For example, we have 4x minus 5 equals 2. So that is an equation. The next, group similar terms. What does it mean? In grouping similar terms, you're going to group all the constant, which means all the fixed value, which are represented by numbers or whole numbers or fractions, and you're going to group all the variables. Those are the letters in the alphabet. And then the third step is to group, or rather to perform the indicated operation. Then the next is simplify. Always simplify or reduce your answer to its simplest form, especially if your answer is a fraction. Then lastly, check your answer. We're going to discuss the number 5 or the last step as we go on with our lesson. So again, these are the steps or the 5 steps in solving an equation. A simple equation involving one operation on whole numbers and fraction. Okay, let us read it. First one is write the equation. The second one, group similar terms. We're going to group all the constant and all the variables. 3 is to perform the indicated operation. 4, simplify the answer. And lastly, you have to check your answer.